the expectations of Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr, and Champ Kelly today on Night of the Shield. Welcome in, Nation, to another episode of Night of the Shield. If you're new here, please think about hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be updated every time I drop another video. Also, if you've been rocking with me for a while, hit that like button and leave me a comment in the comment below. Let me know how long you've been here. All right, Nation, let's go ahead and let's get into this. I'm going to start off with the expectations for Josh McDaniels. Now, I knew there was going to be a difference of opinion, and you know, some of the verbiage that is used doesn't necessarily dictate, I think, of what division really is. I don't think the nation is necessarily divided. We're just very opinionated. We live in an opinionated world where everybody has one, and it's going to differ. And it's okay to be different, and it's okay to have your own thought and opinion. But for myself, I want to lay out my thought process, my so-called expectations for Josh McDaniels. And I guess this can go along with Dave Ziegler as well. But for me, my expectations are modest, I guess is the word that I would use. I'm even keel right now. I'm not upset. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. These guys got a job to do, and I'm going to let them do their job. If they show me that they can't do their job, well, that's going to change, obviously, the way that I think and the way that I feel about this hire. But right now, at this point in time, listening to the press conference, I did a whole 50-minute breakdown. I know it was long, so thank you for everybody who endured that and checked that out. But ultimately, the biggest thing that I'm hearing right now from everyone is the whole Belichick tree scenario. And it really ties into how I feel about just expectations in general, okay? I can't speak for Bill Belichick's coaching tree and why they didn't do so hot. I cannot speak firmly on what we could talk about what Josh McDaniels said, right? He wasn't a player personnel person. The thing is that a lot of these guys leave thinking that they're going to be Belichick, or the expectations for these people are they should be like Bill Belichick. And the bottom line is, nation, none of these guys are Bill Belichick. We have to understand that first and foremost. We are not getting Bill Belichick. I heard Josh McDaniels talk in an interview, I believe it was with CBS, and he even said, I'm bringing a lot of what I learned from the Patriot way, but I'm going to make it the Raider way. I'm going to add my own thought process. Him and Dave, he actually put Dave's name in there as well, that they're both are going to combine and put in some of their visions and their what they feel needs to be done in an organization. So it'll be a lot of the Patriot way. And I think I mentioned this in that video. It'll be the foundation is going to be the Patriot way, but they're going to build their own team here, their own philosophies. And that's the way it should be done. You constantly got to involve. You have to evolve. You have to grow. You have to change. You have to be innovative. And that's what Josh McDaniels has shown, at least as an offensive coordinator. So now he has another opportunity to translate that over into being a head coach. Now, here's another reason why that I'm very happy with this hire, because, like I said in that video before, it's not too often you get to bring in GM and head coach at the same time, from the same place, from the same philosophy, on the same page. Like this is revolutionary for most teams, let alone this franchise. And I'm excited for this franchise, and I'm excited for McDaniels, and I'm excited for Ziegler, because we haven't had anything outside of pretty much what Al built. If you look at Reggie, he came from the same system. You watched, I think Reggie was probably the closest thing. He did try to draft better than most. He really, he ran out and got Mack, and he got Cooper, and he was trying to get the guys that should have been picked in the first round and picked them. Gruden came in with an Al Davis philosophy too, drafting speed, drafting for different reasons. Just I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing right now is Mark Davis is really putting an emphasis on the front office. And I think that's where it all starts. We got talent on the field. We know we have talent there. And we know we need coaching. We need really good coaching. We need to put it all together. But our front office has been a mess. And we're going to talk about the completion of that front office here at the end of this video. But back to Josh McDaniels, like I'm just I don't know. like I said, when your expectations don't meet the reality that happens, that's when feelings get hurt. So it's okay if you want to be a little hesitant and you want this guy to prove something, but you have to respect where we're at. This guy is a very innovative offensive mind. And not only did he mess up in Denver, but he admitted it. And not only did he mess up in Denver, he went back to where he felt comfortable the most, to the person that he trusts the most. And he spent over a decade refining his coaching skills and his tools. He built up his tool bag for over a decade since that moment. He's been working on himself. He's been working on his coaching philosophies. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt. How many of these Bill Belichick coaches have left, failed, and actually gone on to try to improve themselves? So, again, I'm not going to measure McDaniels' success off other people that left an organization that did not succeed. That's just not how I do things, right? And it's not to say that he's going to do great or fail. We got to give him that rope. And I think that was in the, I think they said that. I didn't play that part in my breakdown video, but they actually said you pull the rope upward, right? There's one rope going the same direction. They're all pulling up at the same time. I like that philosophy. So bottom line, sum this up. Josh McDaniels has a great opportunity, and he's going to make things happen. Next thing on my list, Derek Carr. Everybody's favorite topic, right? And again, this is not going to be about whether or not they should keep him or trade him. That is their decision right now and their decision alone. And I knew it when I did the press conference breakdown video and Dave Ziegler's piece. We'll get his name right eventually. Dave Ziegler's piece came up. I even said people are going to take this statement and they're going to twist it and they're going to make it seem like Derek is on the hot seat and things are going to get out of control. This is what I got out of that personally, and I knew it was going to come to this, right? They said they're excited to work with Derek Carr. They want to see how he fits the system, and you could take that as many different ways as you want to. But Derek Carr is going into the last year of his contract, no guaranteed money. That point has been clearly made, right? And people are talking about last time we got Gruden, Derek came out all excited and he couldn't wait, and he made his own statement. Well, he was already under contract. He just got paid. He had a pocket full of money. He wasn't worried about it. This time, it's totally different, all right? They're in what you call negotiating stage. They're negotiating a contract, or maybe not. But regardless, they're in the negotiating phase. The next step for Derek Carr right now is negotiating, okay? No guaranteed money. Last year of his contract. This is negotiating time for both parties. So if Dave Ziegler or Josh McDaniels would have came out in that presser and said, Derek Carr is our guy, he's going to be the guy, we're going to make sure that he's on this team, we're going to give him a contract, yes, that's a great vote of confidence. But you put yourself in the wrong end of the negotiating table if you do that. Same goes for Derek Carr. If Derek Carr would have came out on Twitter, on media, and said, oh, this is what I needed, this is what I wanted, this is where I'm going to be, and he starts re-emphasizing everything that he said in the past and that, money's not a problem, all these things, he takes everything off the negotiating table as well, plus his ability to move on if he feels that's what he wants to do. So I'm looking at it at this point as just a bit of a negotiating tactic from both sides. They're not going to show their hand. They're going to let things play out. They're going to get to know each other. They're going to have plenty of conversations, especially at the negotiating table, about how much he should get paid, what he's expecting from them. I'm sure, I wish I was a fly in that room, but I wouldn't be surprised if they bring up Davante Adams. And if not Davante Adams, definitely some, more affordable options at the moment to bring in to really raise the level of this offense. And we'll get into all that here pretty quick. All this stuff should start taking place as the coaching staff starts to develop. But don't pay too much attention to what was said in the presser about Derek Carr. They're just in a negotiating stage. Let it play out. All right. Plenty of time. No time to hit the panic button right now. Just sit back, let them get to know each other, let them talk out, hash out some things, and negotiate a contract, and we'll go from there. All right. Champ Kelly, right? Champ Kelly was a guy that was on the Raiders' radar for GM. I think he interviewed for the GM position. Obviously, he didn't get it. If you look at this cat's resume, man, it's deep. It's deep. He was in Denver at the same time they were there. So that's the familiarity there. There's the connection. They know each other. He did some great drafts in Chicago, drafting players like Roquan Smith and negotiating all those contracts. So, and he also was a GM himself in the United League. I know that might not be a big deal, but he does have GM experience. So he does have player personnel experience, GM experience. He has a master's degree in business, right? And he has an undergrad in computer science. So he's a very smart, intelligent dude. He knows numbers. He worked for IBM. The guy's resume is pretty outstanding. I'm pretty shocked that, he didn't even get a GM spot somewhere else. But the fact that Dave Ziegler was smart enough to bring him in as his wingman. These are two really young, driven football minds that are going to be working in tandem in player personnel, scouting, contract negotiating, free agencies. This is a good thing. And this goes back to what I was saying when it came to Josh McDaniels and why they brought these two in together, right? And they also brought in an assistant that they worked with before. They're all going to be on the same page. And the cool thing is, this has nothing to do with the players that are on this team right now or what philosophy we're going to run, or none of it. None of that matters. Right now, they are building a front office. Mark Davis is putting together a front office, something that was reported last year that was, all these, president, vice president, all these people are leaving the company. He has to rebuild that front office. And I think that's where our woes have really been. We haven't had a front office ever. You heard the stories about Al Davis. They were talking about it. He didn't have your typical GM scouting department. Reggie came in and tried to build that, but, I don't know if I necessarily agree with everything Mark said about Reggie, about being young and not being ready. I think Reggie was ready. I just think that there was a lot to do. Salary cap hell, the front office was non-existent. There was no system built. And, he did. Reggie did fail at picking, his first coach in Dennis Allen. It was a fail. He pushed it. He was looking for a puppet, and I don't think that was the right way to go. And I'll follow that up with Mark. Mark bringing in Jack and giving up on Jack and then bringing in Gruden because he wanted the big name. And he brought in Gruden to be his head coach and basically be his personnel department. And I don't think that meshed really well for what we needed. We needed a front office first. And I'm going to give kudos to Josh McDaniels on that too, because he could have acted like, hey, I'm more prepared. I could do this. I'm going to call things my way. But he's being humble enough to come in here and say himself, look, all I need is this guy. We need each other. We're going to come in here as a tandem, and we're going to build this thing together. We come from the same place. We have the same philosophies. We know exactly what we want and what we want to do. We've been talking about it for years together. We go way back to college, and that leaves plenty of optimism. So I think right now, I don't think we should, the moral of this whole video today is not necessarily about what kind of expectations we should have, because I don't think the expectations should necessarily be set right now. We don't even know what kind of defense we're going to run. We don't know who our quarterback is necessarily going to be yet. We just don't know. But what we do know is that there is moves that have been made that have never really been seen ever in this organization. A solid GM in tandem with the head coach, bringing an assistant GM that has a background and a pedigree that's only going to help Dave Ziegler in his first GM spot. And tandemly together, that's a good setup, man. So I don't think the word should be expectation. I think all expectations really should be off the table at this point, and it all should be focused on optimism. Because this team right now, in its state that it's in, it's looking very optimistic that we're actually trending up. I can honestly at least say that. And if the expectation is to get better, I think they're handling it the right way. They're starting at the front office. Now they're working on the coaching staff. By the way, Olsen's gone. We knew that. Cable's gone. We knew that. We kept the wide receiver coach. Fantastic. A lot of these positions, I think it's a good move, but all I'm interested in right now is obviously we got McDaniels in place. I want to see who he brings in as his wingman. I think that'll be key as far as working with Carr anyway. But McDaniels is going to be the offensive mind on that. We know that. And then I'm really, really curious because I think this, and I'm going to do a whole separate video on, I'm not going to get into this right now, but who we bring in as a defensive coordinator is going to tell a big tell about really what direction we're headed. Because I think right now If you look at the weapons on offense, you look at Josh McDaniels himself and what he's able to do from an offensive perspective and put people in the right position to make plays and be effective, we're going to be okay. Defensively, a lot of players on their way out, a lot of contracts that need to be looked at. What are we going to run? And I mean, I'll just put this out here right now. I think we need to continue to build a hybrid defense, but an aggressive hybrid defense. I don't think we should put too much emphasis on a 4-3 or a 3-4. I think we should build a team that will be versatile in being able to do both, because I think that's where this league is headed. Being the more versatile you can be, the more effective you're going to be, especially on defense with all these hybrid tight ends and these offense and the innovative minds that are in the game today. And like McDaniels said, I mean, your package right now is nickel anyway. And we have a good setup for that. And when you're in the nickel, you're usually in a 4-3. So we're halfway there. You know, if they could find and they could feel like these players could be versatile and we can move some pieces around and be versatile in that department, I think we're on the right track. But I'm really curious to see who they bring in and what they kind of put out there in writing and in stone to say, hey, this is the kind of direction we're heading in on defense. But make no mistake about it, it doesn't matter. This defense needs to be retooled. If I know people don't like the rebuild word. I don't like the rebuild word. But if there's anything that's going to have a lot of change to it and a lot of things that need to be examined and moved around and pulled, it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll get into all of that as the offseason continues to go down. Again, I want to appreciate everybody who's been watching, really helping me bring this back. The more and more we do this, the more and more the channel grows, the more time I could put into it. I have a lot of expectations for myself in 2022 on this channel, and I just appreciate all your support. So once again, if you're new here, think about hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can be updated every time I drop another video. And again, man, you've been rocking with me for a while. Smash that like button. Let's move up the algorithm. Let's build this channel back. I can't wait to do more collabs. I mean, the Raider Nation right here on YouTube, there's nothing else like it on YouTube. I'll tell you that right now. Sports in general have really caught fire on YouTube finally. It doesn't matter what sport you watch or what kind of take you're looking for. There's some great channels out there. If you want information, it's at a plenty right now. But thanks for everybody who's been watching, who's been following. So remember, subscribe, like, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. You know, you can let me know your expectations. But I think right now we're in a phase and a time of optimism, and I think we need to be optimistic. I think we need to be hopeful, and as always, we need to be Raider strong. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Night out.